If you ever planned an event, and whether that was a baby shower, some sort of birthday party, company party, a wedding, or even sadly a funeral, then you know one of the most expensive and challenging parts of that planning is the flower arrangements. It can be very costly. We're talking in the thousands. Thousands are spent on the flowers, and sadly within a few days or sometimes even immediately after the event, they're just tossed in the trash and thrown out. But what if there was an alternative? And I'm not talking about those plastic fake flowers that your grandma had in the 90s, collected all that dust and sat on the cabinets, but I'm talking about something nice. Flowers that look and photograph just like live flowers. They won't wilt or droop, and they won't give you sneezing fits, right? On today's episode of This is Jax, I'm sitting down with SarahMarie and Megan. They're the co-founders, owner-operators of Faithful Florals. They're disrupting the industry norms by redefining luxury through sustainability. They're ready to help you create the event that you're dreaming of. If this is your first time listening to This is Jax, subscribe, leave a comment, and let us know you were here. Welcome to This is Jax, a hyper-local podcast. We're going to do our best. We're going to bring on successful business owners, the people who drive the cities, share a lot about what makes our city so great. So you can be confident and comfortable. This is a city that you want to call home. All right, we're getting in here. SarahMarie, Megan, Faithful Florals. Thanks so much for coming in here today.
Thank you for having us.
Sitting down. I'm excited. We were talking a little bit about some things, but we needed to get going because I didn't want to miss anything good. All right. So you were looking to make a career move, right? You guys had your career. You were also looking to make a physical move. You wanted to get out of California. We can talk about all the reasons why. That's fine. But you were looking to head to Florida. And from what you told me, but you could go anywhere. You could go anywhere in Florida. So why Jax?
So I think I was the one that started kind of planting the seed. It was during COVID. Okay. Obviously, our county in California was the very first county to lock down in the whole entire United States. And it was pretty bad lockdowns. So me and my family came out here to go to Disney.
So you had some time off, came to visit the state.
During COVID. And we ate sushi in a restaurant.
Yeah.
And it was like mind blowing that we were like, oh my gosh, like we're eating in a restaurant. Isn't this crazy?
Yeah.
We don't have to mask between bites.
Yeah. We didn't have like the restaurant. We had to eat outside. It was inside. We had like a normal dining experience.
Yeah.
And I like turned to my husband. I'm like, what are we doing? And it started the whole process. We made like 3 or 4 trips back. And we originally were looking at the Tampa area, but I didn't really like the vibes there. We made a trek over here to like Jacksonville, St. Augustine area. And I was like, yes, this is more my vibe. I like this.
Okay. All right. So it was maybe like the initial impression of the culture and the lifestyle here, which I agree is totally different. I grew up in Tampa, St. Pete, was born on the east side, east coast in a very small town that no one knows about. And then was in Tampa, St. Pete. But I've been up here for like 20 years and it is drastically different. I always thought I was going to go back to Tampa. Like I was going to go home someday. And then now I'm like, this is home, you know? And it's kind of like why I'm so passionate about this place. All right. So how does that fit you?
Yeah.
SarahMarie into the picture? You guys are really tight friends. You're working together and she's going on all these fun trips and you're sitting back there. Right?
I would actually say that we were friends, but I think this business has brought us closer together for sure.
Business brought you closer together.
Like we were friends back at home and then, our friendship was really strengthened through COVID because of some of the requirements and things that we kind of stuck together on. And we were really kind of ostracized at work. So that was that. But on my personal home front, my husband and I had been looking for housing for quite a while. We are very coastal people.
Yeah.
We'd been looking at properties in the coast of California, which was just the property out there. It's
was it unreal?
It's
expensive?
Unreal. Yeah. It's really unreal.
It's like $1 million for a shack that you have to tear down.
More like 1.5, like a fixer-upper on the coast. So, we just didn't want to do it. And
so cards are stacking up here.
Yeah, we'd been looking for like a year, just kind of watching the market. And then we started looking coastal out of state. So we started looking like coastal Texas, and I have family in Texas, but my dad's like, coastal Texas is not the coast that you're used to. So then we came out here to Florida and we loved it. We loved it.
So you I mean, but help me wrap this around. It's a big deal for to up one household and move. Do you guys have kids?
Yes.
So one household to move across the country in the middle of whatever it was, and you're changing careers and you're making a move, but now there's like two households doing it together. I mean, how does the planning go? Then how did you get your husbands on board? Are they like, we're all in?
For me, it was especially, I don't want to say difficult, but like we have a blended family.
Okay.
So I have two amazing stepsons back in California. And ultimately I had to kind of divert that final decision to my husband. Because, I would never want that to fall on my heart or my conscience.
Tough.
It was very hard. But we looked at the quality of life, work-life balance, all of those things that were so important to the other part of our family, our two girls. We have two girls together. So that was a difficult decision to make, but we really felt like our time would be better protected in some way. Maybe that's hard to understand.
Yeah, no, I have 4 kids and we're a blended family. They're all my kids, but we're a blended family too. My wife and me have 3 kids, and then I have a kid from before. And we just moved from Green Cove Springs back over to Jacksonville. Yeah. And that, like, moving across town an hour or 45 minutes, that was even like challenging for those relationships. And so like, I can feel that for sure and relate to that and understand. So Faithful Florals, and you guys talk about this, but like, what role also did your faith play in the move?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the funny thing is we didn't have the business before the move. Okay. So it's really funny of like how God like planned this out for us.
Yeah.
Of how we both ended up in the same vicinity, having just gone through all this stuff out in California together. And then it was kind of us going back and forth of like, what else do we want to do? Like, we know the healthcare isn't for us anymore. We want to do something else.
Yeah, that was the extent of it, actually. Prior to our move to Florida, the extent of our business relationship was just extending ideas back and forth, trading ideas back and forth. Like, if we were to not do nursing, what would we do?
What are we going to do once we get there?
What are we passionate about? What are we good at? And Megan and I always kind of gravitated because we're natural creatives. So even though there's like not much capacity in healthcare to like do creative things, if there were on the unit, we would kind of find a way.
Making the best of it, having fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we called it the Arts and Crafts Committee.
So
okay.
We actually were in a Bible study together. And so that kind of, I think, was like the beginning point of having a friendship outside of work.
Yeah. And
kind of weathering the storm of all the things that had transpired in healthcare, changed a lot. Through the last few years. So then Megan left and she was here, and then it was like, I'm traveling here and it's great. And it's like, well, pitched the idea to my husband. Honestly, didn't know how he would take that. Right. Yeah. And we came out here. He really enjoyed it.
And what about their work? Did they have to?
My husband's a nurse as well.
Okay. So Jacksonville, probably a great place for lots of options, opportunity there, or has that been?
Tell them that story.
Pros or not pros? Yeah.
Well, for the last year, we'll probably catch a lot of flack for this, but we have been traveling back to California once a month. I have been traveling back to California once a month to work as a nurse. And it's very, very unfortunate that nurses don't get paid what they should here in Jacksonville. Okay. To say that is an understatement. It's sad that you're most literally saving lives and doing the same bedside work
for half the pay.
So that's a good point. So
more than
one of the things I would typically ask sometimes on the show is like, if you could change one thing about Jacksonville, what would it be? It sounds like that might be
healthcare for sure.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so from someone who's not involved in healthcare, I know there's a lot of it here. So you're saying for the workers it needs to be better, or for the residents it needs to be better, or?
Megan probably she's currently still working as a nurse part-time. So she probably has a better inside perspective as far as the healthcare that patients are receiving.
Okay.
But my husband's now a nurse here at Baptist. We've made that pivot and that full step to fully transition. Yeah. But it's been difficult because it's a significant cut. Okay. And like I said, you're doing the same work. The cost of living here is increasing. And maybe you have some other input on that.
Yeah, I just think in general in healthcare, like the working conditions could always be better.
Okay.
It's very long shifts, a lot of times like without breaks.
Yeah.
It's not good for overall patient safety, I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, like my husband just started his job and I thought maybe they were hazing him a little bit, California boy. But it's most literally just the working conditions. Okay. You don't get 15-minute breaks.
Some
You're
improvement.
Lucky to get a lunch if it's at 3 and you've been there since 6:45. People like to tease that, California nurses and their state mandated ratios, but those state mandated ratios are there for patient safety.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. There's always room for improvement on things like that. And then I think just in general, kind of like you touched on before, our whole world has changed in the viewpoint of healthcare and the way it is, and what it is. So, other than that, kind of getting back to being here in Jax. So you've been here now a few years, right? Mm-hmm. So at what point, getting into Faithful Florals and stuff, what point did you realize and did you know that Jax was the right decision, that you made the right move?
So the idea for it, I think, came up last summer is when we first started actually doing that. Well, I kind of took the idea and just ran with it.
Okay.
Yeah. We had been exchanging ideas back and forth, a number of different creative things. And then I had sent her this idea for a floral business. And then she was like, yes, I love it. And then soon thereafter went to buy equipment without telling me. And it was I have stuff coming to the house. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
this
perfect.
Is the idea that stuck, this one. And she was like, yeah, I think we can do it. And I was like, all right, let's do it. I'm in.
I like that too. And I talk to a lot of my clients. I call it we're going to jump off the cliff and we're going to figure out how to get there on the way down. Obviously, I guide a lot of clients through the real estate purchase from beginning to end. And one of the things that gives people anxiety is they want to know, hey, we're going to start this. What is the end result? Yeah. And while we can look at historical data, we can look at current data, market data, trends, and we're going to make really good decisions based off of that. And we're going to put everything into it. But we do not know what the outcome is. And so it seems like you kind of had a similar experience where hey, we're just going to jump off this cliff and we're just going to go full speed and we're going to figure out how to land on the way down. And so I like hearing that. I want to know more about Faithful Florals. I was looking at your website. So it looks like sustainability, flexibility, and affordability, those seem to be kind of the foundations of the business. So can you expand on those principles a little bit, how they became to be, maybe, how they're, you came up with them first of all, and then how do they, how do you build the business on that?
Yeah.
Well, for us, it's been kind of an uphill battle because all of our flowers are actually faux flowers. None of them are actually live flowers, but they're made to look and feel like live flowers. And as you can see, they photograph just like live flowers. But
we had some for you to feel today.
Yeah.
You did. However, when we opened our bag, they must have fallen out. They're in the driveway somewhere.
We'll get them.
Yeah. So it's kind of an uphill battle with that because you say faux flowers and people think, they
90s,
think
when we were kids.
It's a visceral reaction.
They think of grandma's flowers with the dust all over them.
Oh yeah, they're on top doilies. Of the cabinets
in the room
and
with
stuff.
The couch. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the nice thing about that is a lot of people don't realize is 80% of our flowers in America are all imported.
Okay.
So they're all coming from South America mostly. So the carbon footprint of the flowers to get here to Costco or Publix or the florist or whatever is insane. Like it's completely insane.
Okay.
As far as the trucking, boating, flights, refrigeration, water, pesticides, all the things.
Yeah.
So for us, it just seemed like a no-brainer to do something like this because the fact that our flowers are faux, we can rent them over and over and over again. So like their lifetime is so much more than it could be with the fresh flowers that they're throwing in the trash at the end of the night, which
After
is
6
crazy.
hours, yeah.
Like we literally go to events and watch people throw all the flowers in the trash that they just spent like $8,000 on.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Insane expensive.
It's pretty nuts, yeah.
Okay.
And then I think too, the background for us is like, we both had some type of personal experience with our own weddings.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
Tell me more about that.
I had budgetary constraints for my wedding. You know, we didn't have a lot of help. So I had this grand vision of what I wanted my flowers to look like. And because of those constraints, I had to immediately scale back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that sucks. It's not a feeling that like anyone wants to go into their wedding day or big event, right? Like you have this vision of what you want it to look like. And then very quickly thereafter, you're like, ooh.
You have that champagne taste on the beer budget.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I had to scale back and I used my budget in the most effective way possible. But I found that there were not good faux options, number one.
Yeah.
They were all tragic. And I was like, absolutely not. This is not going to be at my wedding. And I actually did try to get someone to repurpose my centerpieces and such. To like a nursing home or something like that. But at the time, there were only 2 companies within like a 50-mile radius of where my event was taking place, and they wouldn't come. They basically were going to charge me more money to travel to come get the flowers to give them a second life. It was like,
you know what? We've had that experience with like donations before. Like we just recently, I found somebody good. So if you need them, but we bought a new washer and dryer and I was like, yeah, we'll just donate the old one. Because we're tired of trying to sell stuff, first of all. Yes. Selling stuff is hard.
It's exhausting.
And second, we're in a position where I'm like, yeah, we'll just give stuff away. Mm-hmm. I just give it away now. But yeah, we tried to, because like Home Depot was like, do you want a haul off fee? And it was only like $30 or something. And I was like, no, I'm going to give it away. And I was sure we could get it donated. Some of these companies that like the nonprofits they wanted to charge like $300-$400 to like pick up and donate. And I was like, I'm not going to pay you. Yeah. And then you're going to sell it in your store. You're making the same profit margin that Home Depot is.
You were like, do you know what donate means?
By the end of it. Yeah. Yeah. I reached out through our like church and local networks and like found somebody and they came and picked it up like immediately. And they were really excited about it. So that was good. But
yeah, right. Similar experience.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay. I'm trying to gift the flowers. Like,
right. Yeah. Right. So that's definitely, you're talking about sustainability and affordability there. What about like the flexibility portion?
Yeah.
What goes into that?
Well, the benefit of having.
So like going back to her story with her wedding, she wanted a particular flower in a particular color. She was having a fall wedding.
Okay.
Her florist could not find it. So she still got faux flowers in her bouquet that she did not want.
I was so mad.
Because it was out of season, but she didn't tell her that. Yeah. But with us, we don't have a seasonality.
Okay.
Like people don't realize that peonies are only available in a very short time frame, but people love them for weddings because they're big, beautiful flowers.
Yeah.
One of the most desired flower types.
They're in every one of our arrangements. Like you can literally have peonies all year long.
Yeah. You know, I grew up at the flower shop. We had a flower shop, Sebastian Country Florist. I used to play in the cooler and do all the stuff out back on the forklift and all that. It was crazy. But I know for sure about the flowers and that business and it is tough. It's not always just there. And then because we've done events or we're like, hey mom, do you want to do like our flowers or something? And it's hard to even like just get them or order them, even if you have somebody that can make them. And then the process of like, well, where do you have a cooler that you can walk into and store all these things? Yeah. Or like, how big is it? And it's like, it's just not there.
There are a lot of logistics.
I almost wore the shirt today. Listen, all right, it's pink and it's got like, it's got a rose on it. And it's very old. It was like probably my grandpas used to wear it when they were like the delivery guys.
Yeah.
You know? And so yeah, and I found it. My grandma, if she's listening, I'm not sure, but she's kind She's kind of like a hoarder. She keeps a lot of stuff. So I found it in one of the closets. And so I got it. Really great. I love documenting all the photo albums and stuff. But then there's some stuff that I'm like, I don't think we need to save these Post-it notes from like 1996 anymore. Yeah. But no, so I've got that shirt. It hangs up in my closet. I put it on, look in the mirror sometimes, and then I like take it back off and just remember the times. I would get dropped off at school. We had a pink Ford Aerostar with no windows. And this shows you how different things are. Like I would never go around town with my kids without like their car seat or seatbelt. And I'm very judgy of people when I see their kids.
You're just like throwing in the back.
Like, what is wrong with you? Right. So like we had a Ford Aerostar with like no windows, like the cargo style, no seats. And I would sit on the cinder blocks in the back. Mm-hmm. Imagine that. Just sat on the cinder blocks because when the flowers, like when we deliver flower arrangements, you use the cinder blocks to like keep the stuff from tipping over and moving. So
imagine general contractor. And so same
thing.
Van
getting dropped off at like kindergarten, like opening the door and you're hopping out. Imagine if you drove up to a public school today.
Saw some random van with no windows and a kid just jumping out.
No seatbelts, no nothing. How much trouble we'd be in. But that was our life, you know?
It was a good life.
Yeah, bring it back. Okay. All right, cool. So, you know what? I love hearing all that stuff. That's awesome. What makes you guys different? So, I mean, there's other faux flowers, right? And we kind of touched on like these aren't your grandma's like 1995 faux flowers, fake flowers. They would be called today faux flowers. Okay. Oh. But what else, other than that, what makes you guys different than other companies that already exist in the area?
Honestly, I feel like we're kind of paving a path.
There are no companies that exist.
There are a couple, one or two, but their packages are very different than ours.
Okay.
I think there's one off the top of my head that does kind of like a all-inclusive, like this is the collection that you rent. All of our pieces are semi-customizable. So if your event, you're like, I want red. I like this collection, but I want red splashes of red. You can do that. And you can mix and match. So if you see something from one collection, you can pick that if you wanted something from the other collection. I mean, the feel of the flowers, I think, is really what sets us apart too. Like we really feel that we've sourced the best product that's out there. You can't walk into Michael's or Joann's and grab these flowers off the shelf.
Yeah, they're super top tier flowers. Like they're so surprising to people. Like so many people, we always joke with people because so many people try to sniff them.
Yeah.
Like, and we try to tell them, like, they're faux flowers. They're not. Yeah.
I got your website up here and just the photos of the stuff alone. I mean,
some of them are hand painted. They have veining in the petals to really
they have thorns,
replicate
all the things.
It looks great. And I'm qualified. So not only do we own it, not only do we listen.
Qualified to say so.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not even a joke. So not only I left something out. So not only that did we own a flower shop, but my dad was a pastor. So every from weddings to funerals to like births, I've done them. I could be an event. I spent my time not only in the delivery van, but behind the curtain at the mortuary and in the funeral home, and then at the wedding rehearsals and at the actual wedding. I mean, that is like my education growing up in the real world. Like that's it. So sometimes I joke that I'm in the wrong business. I should be in an event coordinator. Yeah. Because it's what I really have a passion for. And in fact, in our business, we're actually launching some like we looked at all of our past transactions, like the past 20 transactions we did, families that we helped buy or sell real estate, and they're all now past clients or past client referrals, which is really exciting us. So they're not coming from like ad or marketing. I mean, obviously we're putting ourselves out there to them and staying in touch, but we love seeing that. And so we're moving forward. Actually, this year we booked a place to do like an event, and then moving forward, that's going to be it. Like instead of dumping money into like Google ads, it's going to all just be dumped into events, like, throughout the year.
We've learned
and
so I'm excited about that.
We've learned that about Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Jacksonville really is so business friendly.
Yeah.
And
tell me more about that.
Well, and it's funny, like we just met someone at a networking event and she said it's like the biggest small town you'll ever go to. Yeah. So it's huge landmass wise, right? Like you drive 45 minutes and you're still in the freaking city. Yeah. I learned that the hard way when I first moved here on Facebook Marketplace. I tried to buy something and I was like literally driving for 45 minutes. And I was like, how is this still Jacksonville?
Yeah.
To get a bookcase.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But especially women-owned businesses. When I tell you that there are so many women who support other women here, it is wild. Like we have had so many people take us under their wings and teach us stuff and show us stuff because like SarahMarie said, we just kind of took it and ran with it. But like the networking here and the other women-owned businesses, it's just wild. Like how many people there are and how like all of them are thriving, even in the same arenas. Like, right. We have so many photographer friends and they all support each other. They're not in competition with each other. Yeah. It's really like a great environment.
Yeah,
for
I don't
business.
know if we stumbled on like a select group of amazing people or if that's just how it is everywhere. Yeah. But like she was saying, it's like the biggest small town. Like I feel like, especially in the events industry, we pretty much know a lot of people like that. And
everyone knows each other.
You feel like you should know no one,
right?
You know, like, but I feel like everyone knows each other.
And it goes back to like you were talking about with your business, right? Like the word of mouth and the referrals. Like I feel like so many people are willing to do that here.
And the willingness to collaborate, which we've found not only beneficial for like relationship building, beneficial for the client too, receiving dual services, and it's just all around pretty awesome. Yeah,
I can attest to that too, and I agree with you. And that's exciting to hear that it happens in other industries. Because even in my industry, obviously we have our own brokerage, our own business, but I can go hang out at the other ones, some of them, I can't speak for everybody, but I have friends that are at different brokerages or different companies or different organizations. And if I stop in, we always have a good time together. And it's like, there's enough people here that, there's enough business for everybody. I say that it's not really like if you're not good and you don't have quality, then you're not going to do well. But if you have a quality product or you're a good person, then you're going to succeed here because there's enough here and the growth here is insane. And that's part of it. And then also we talk a lot on the show about like kind of the pace of the city and going back to what you said originally brought you here compared to like Orlando, Miami or Tampa. We're like this old city of like the South kind of, and it's very, and we've talked about it on this show before where sometimes that's like, sometimes it holds us back a little bit. The city's very slow to make decisions. But if you go back and you look at the history, if you really get into Jacksonville and you learn that like in the early 1900s, it burned to the ground and then it took like 20 years to rebuild. So now you're in the 1920s and 30s. And then you run into like the Depression and then World War II. And then you come out of that into the like 50s, 60s and 1970s. Now you're kind of like in the modern time. And even though the city is hundreds of years old, it basically got like decimated and had to start over. And so then the mindset was like, whoa, let's do it right this time. Let's take our time in every decision. And that's like held over. So you're still like, I talk about in my business, all I have to do for real estate wise, like, I want to be creative and I want to be cutting edge and stuff. But here in Jacksonville, I have the ability to like look to Ontario or New York or California. Like what kind of trends are they doing? How are people dressing? What's their marketing look like? And if I bring that to here, you're able to really succeed here in our city. So that's interesting hearing how you were welcomed by other businesses and the other support. How do you feel like the community has been? How have the consumers been here?
I mean, I think overall good.
Yeah. I think everyone wants, whether it's a graduation, a wedding, everyone wants their event to be special. Yeah. I mean, point blank, it's hard times right now for everybody, and I think everyone wants to get a good deal. Everyone wants their dollar to have high value and yield something, that they feel good about. Yeah, you touch on it. I love to use the word value. A lot of people say cheap or is it expensive or is it cheap? And I don't really think in those terms. I think of like, what's the value? Yeah. I don't mind paying more for a really good product. Mm-hmm. That's a good value. Yeah. And so I'm more focused on that. And I hope that the consumers here in our city are like focused on that as well. Not just like, let me get a deal. It's so important. Let me get something. And I think for us, it's been very interesting, right? Because as far as like our bridal community, right? Yeah. This new generation of people coming up, like they're very much more concerned about the environment.
They love the idea of having faux flowers. We've actually had a few brides that specifically only wanted faux flowers. Yeah. One was like an allergy reason. The other one was the same thing. I don't want to throw away all these flowers. I don't want to spend thousands of dollars and all these flowers just go in the trash at the end of the night.
Yeah, I think health, fitness, environment, all that stuff is kind of like coming to the forefront of our generation, at least. I don't know. Can't speak for the kids, but anyway, so okay. I want to talk about something else too, real quick. And then we'll button up this little segment. So you guys make a move, kind of recap. You make a move across country. You also like make a career move. Most folks who go from a 9-to-5 or a corporate type job or something like that and jump into the business world, their initial clients, the people they lean on for support, are their local sphere, their friends, family, those who have known them for years and know them and trust them, and so want to use their product. When you make a move at the same time, you kind of lose all of that. So you really started from scratch. So I think you kind of have some experience in this. But so what advice, and it doesn't have to just be in that circumstance, but really what advice do you have for others who are looking to start their own business here in Jacksonville?
You have to get in the room. Like, networking is the most important thing. Like, everything for us has been obviously grown organically. Because like you said, we don't have, we didn't have friends or family or anything like that to lean on. Yeah. But, we had one of the women we talked about, like, she had told us, you have to go to networking events. This is how you meet people. Right. And since we've done that, like, we've gotten so many more followers, so many more referrals, so many more people just talking about our product, which is what we wanted, right? Because there's that education gap with it of trying to bridge that faux flower mentality. So I think like networking is the number one thing I would say advice wise.
I think too, just being very, maybe this is my own saying, very rooted and grounded
and authentic.
But like clearly prayerful about all of the business decisions that we make. I know that that's not the case for everybody, but I think, if for me personally, if I wasn't able to bring all of who I am and what I believe into this business, then I didn't want anything to do with it. Okay. And that's kind of why we named the company what we did. Because that is something that's very taboo back where we are from. Huh. It's one of the most unchurched areas in the nation. Wow. And so all of that to say, we pray for our clients. We pray over the partnerships that we're about to get into. We, constantly have to be in check with one another because sometimes our opinions are different and we have to remember that we're on the same team. And I think that's really one of the most important things aside from getting in the room and aside from like, that is important. Yeah. I would say next to being prayerful over your business, getting in the room is the number one thing. I agree with Megan.
Yeah. I love that.
But you have to remember like partnerships can be sticky, and when I say partnerships, I'm referring to like having two business owners. You really have to remember you're on the same team. You have the same goal in mind. And that's for us to serve. We want to serve others with a loving heart. Yeah. Show them the love of Jesus with beautiful flowers. That's awesome. In the making. So that's.
Yeah. No, I love that. And being, and on that, being true and authentic to yourself and letting that like shine through your business, which is cool. Which goes back to what we talked about at the very beginning. Our generation is more interested in who you are than like the slogan or the catchphrase of your business, right? And all that's important, and we want to see a good product as well. Yeah. But as long as your product is good and we can trust you and we know who you are as an individual, and that doesn't mean that we just have to all have all the same beliefs. No. But as long as you put your beliefs out there, now I know who you are and it helps me to trust you. Yeah. And I like that. And I think that's the culture here in our city, and you define it. What's next? So SarahMarie, Megan, what's on the future?
Oh my gosh, we're so excited. Honestly, like we believe so much in our product and the potential that it holds for all events, for all large events. If it flowers just do something.
Yeah.
To an event, to a room, it livens it up. It makes it warm. It makes it inviting. We've partnered with a number of other businesses in Jacksonville, and we're excited about those collaborations.
Awesome.
Yeah. So are we able to speak? You think we can talk?
I think we can talk about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've just partnered with St. Augustine Sailing.
Okay.
To provide some of their floral packages for their
Yeah.
weddings, for their dockside weddings, their yacht weddings.
I love that.
That's really exciting.
That's exciting.
Okay.
We've partnered with Alpha Lit 904. They provide the large letter marquees. And
It's like the light up marquees that everyone
like
wants
the
for their
3 feet
events.
tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an old Vegas sign, but on the ground.
Yeah.
But
pretty
we
much.
have updated them. So with our partnership, we actually put flowers in the letters. We're the only people
cool.
doing this.
We
So
make 'em fancy.
yeah, we make them fancy.
I like that.
Fancy flowers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And, we have a couple of other businesses that have done like custom orders.
Okay.
Pompey Portraits over in Avondale. Pompey Portrait Studios, I should say, she contracted us to do like a floral bouquet. She does maternity and bridal boudoir. Am I saying
Boudoir.
Okay.
boudoir?
Yeah.
Boudoir.
She's going to laugh when she hears me butcher that.
That's all right.
But yeah, so, we would love to, we see such a need in hospitality for floral. I mean, just walking into this building.
Do you know how many faux plants and flowers we passed? A lot.
There are a lot, and they could just be better.
I love it.
They could be better. So,
yeah, I think that's our next frontier is we're looking again
Okay.
to like hospitality corporate florals.
All right. I'm excited about that. You make me I'm going to get some flowers.
You want to come work for us?
Break out the pink shirt.
You want to put in a good word?
I'm like,
I just actually got a van for the business.
Oh yeah?
Gosh, yes.
Dude, that's an accomplishment because I was looking for vans and it was tough.
SarahMarie hates vans. She thinks it's like very
guys.
soccer mom-esque,
do
but
it.
I'm in love with the van.
I found a 1985 van that was like purple glitter and had like a built in, had like the starlights in the headliner and stuff. I almost bought it. I bought
And your wife was like, I'm gonna.
Well, we were looking at vans because we got all these kids and for work.
See, van just makes sense.
Like I play guitar in some bands and some other stuff. So I'm always lugging gear around. And all we have was I have a car, like a little sports car. And then we had this Escalade for our family. So I'm destroying both of them with gear and stuff. So it's all right, I need something. And also I'm putting yard signs, the tools, I'm clearing out people's garages. And the final straw was I had everything packed. I had yard signs, guitar equipment, everything was in the trunk of my car. And the seat, even though the seats were laid down, and I blew a tire on 295.
Oh, no.
Best part of the story was you don't need AAA or anything around here because those Florida Road Rangers, they showed up they're just out cruising. I don't know if you ever see their trucks.
I haven't.
Dude, they showed up within 3 minutes and put out the cones and I can change my own tires, but they came and did it because that's their job. And it's awesome that we have that service here. If you're sitting on the side of the road, put your flashers on, it'll be a couple minutes. Guarantee one of those guys will show up behind you, which is really cool. The bad thing was I had to take everything out of my car, put it pile it up on my red leather seats in the front. And I was furious. And, I was I'm getting something. So I was looking at vans. I wanted to I want to cart my kids around. I want to have work. I want to put my gear in. And so I was really looking at vans, but it was hard to find one that wasn't either like a new van is so expensive or an older van is just ran through. And so I found this very cool van, but I ended up getting a Silverado instead. Silverado on 35s instead. It made more sense. So
the wife did not have a say in that, did
awesome.
she?
I just came home. Nah, she didn't care.
He just came home with it.
She don't care.
Oh, man.
So it's awesome. Okay, last thing, final thing here, and then we'll close out. This has been a great episode. I've really enjoyed talking with you both. I love the flowers. We're going to definitely have to get together on an event or something.
Yeah,
so
we'd love to.
Looking back at your first year in Jacksonville, if you created an event or a tradition, something to celebrate the city and your life and where it's at, what would it look like? Who would it celebrate?
Oh my gosh, what a question. You could have given that one in advance. If we could create an event, what would it look like and who would it celebrate?
Yeah.
Man, honestly, so we attended an event recently, and it was called, I'm talking about Bebo. It was called Women
Bold and Beautiful.
Women Bold and Beautiful. And I would have to kind of echo that idea. Honestly, I think this is my answer.
So basically,
you're stealing my answer?
Yeah, she's a boudoir photographer. That's what she does. But every year she throws an annual event just for women for free. And it's like food, drink. She gives everyone makeovers, and then she takes pictures of everyone.
Yeah.
Just like a headshot, you know? And so I guess I would have to say I'd have to recreate something of that to the biggest magnitude that we were able to create. Yeah. And just to celebrate all of the female entrepreneurs here in Jacksonville. You know, I think, you know, God made men and women differently, and women just have they breathe something, you know, they breathe creativity and like something special into a home, into a business.
And I think women in general are just so used to juggling so many things at once, right? With the kids and work and all that stuff. So I feel like women are just like built for business. Like we're used to all the multitasking and all the different things coming at you. So I feel like in Jacksonville, especially, like the women business owners are incredible.
It's hard, you know, especially if you have small kids to battle all of the things to run your business and still be present. And, you know, the mom guilt thing, I didn't understand it until I had kids, but it is a very real thing. When you're with your kids, you feel like you should be working on your business. When you're doing stuff for your business, you feel like I'm not, you know, I should be there for my kids. And we do it. We get it done while breastfeeding and flying across the country and all the things. Like if I look at my life in this last year as an example, I don't even know how I did it, to be honest. I was flying back to California every 4 to 6 weeks to work as a nurse. I was a stay-at-home mom to, when we moved here, my 6-month-old and my 5-year-old, and starting a business. Yeah. The business wasn't necessarily a planned venture, but like, there we went. And so now I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm still a nurse flying across the country. I'm building a business that I can be proud of. And, like the capacity, right? Like the bandwidth and what I was able to do. And I know there are so many other women that we've met out there just like us. Megan's, you know, started off working 3 jobs.
Yeah, I was doing 3 nursing jobs and doing the business.
And so all of that to say, to answer your question real back, I would probably throw an event to celebrate women entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, and all that they contribute to this community. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that. It's very cool. It's a great experience. Yeah. For the listener out there, they're like, I'm throwing an event.
Yeah.
How do they get in touch with you?
Oh, Instagram's our primary platform.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
So it's faithfulflorals.jax on Instagram. The website, it's the same thing, faithfulfloralsjax.com.
Okay. Awesome.
But we are on all the other things too, Facebook, TikTok for the kids, but we don't really use that a lot.
Yeah, I don't check my
we TikTok only because we have to.
It's on there, like it's on my metrical default, and like
account.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Yeah. But Instagram's our primary account. But we really pride ourselves on being responsive because we have found that sometimes
people aren't like really aren't.
Like the response time is a little lag. So we really pride ourselves on being responsive. We like to say no later than 36 hours, 24 to 36 hours, you'll get a response from us.
Love that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Faithful Florals, SarahMarie, Megan. Thanks for coming on. This is Jax. Thanks for listening. And that's it. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.